Jack stumbles upon a giant's castle. Some would call this breaking and entering. Oh good, some proper mischief. Make it nasty. Let's move.
So, on top of theft
Be by bow thumb. I smell the blood of a human. Be he alive or be he dead. I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
Pardon me, sir, I was in the middle of saying something. So Jack finds a castle here. A castle that coincidentally belonged to giants because, well, giants live in the sky, you see. No? You didn't know this? Well, don't you feel foolish. Either way, Jack eventually now breaks and enters, sort of, technically, even though it was more the giant's wife who brings him in. Why she does this and protects him from her husband is beyond me personally, because you would think she would just kind of prepare him up for, you know, her husband's next meal. But regardless, she doesn't. Beyond any sorts of actual sense, she does not. So instead, she hides him, keeps Jack safe from her husband. Well, and how does Jack pay this kindness? Stealing from them. Yeah, that's our hero, everyone. Gets rescued from people who are willing. Gets rescued from a fate worse than death from, like, the spouse of said person. Robs them all blind. What do you think about it? It's kind of like every RPG character ever, in a way. Just kind of steals everything that's attached to the wall, that's not nailed to the wall, and then steals the nails afterwards. But I digress. We kind of have a lot to do in this gigantic house of wonderment and giants and all sorts of other things. And notice there's a lot of cookbooks here. You can tell it's almost like, well, they use humans for something or another. Just to say, I wouldn't know what you were talking about if you were to mention something like that. Also, foof, or folk, I guess. I'm not particularly, like, savvy in that kind with. I'm not that particularly savvy with that sort of linguistics, so if people actually do know that proper pronunciation, by all means, I would not mind being enlightened, because, it'd be interesting. This would be. I'm thinking too much right now, so I'm just gonna keep on moving. We're gonna keep moving on, and eventually, since we can't really deal with the giant right now, since he's too big for us to really convert, which I think is silly considering we've converted an entire devil at one point. We had a waffle on him. But I suppose that's just mere detail, and, well, that would be too simple, now would it? But without further ado, we've mucked around with this long enough. Let us go and, well, let's deal with this
Don't delay, but stomp away.
generic brand of 4X liquor.
Don't delay, but stomp away. Our lad tries to steal the Golden Goose. Too bad that beast doesn't have the brains to bite Jack's head off. Make it repulsive.
Man, isn't that the truth? You would think a giant goose that lays golden eggs. Which coincidentally is yet another tale on its own, sadly. But you would think, even so, a giant that feasts on human people, dines on human flesh, would have the sense, maybe, to sort of kill people at that point. Maybe eat on people itself. Also, a fun little detail, Grimm's face is on the coins, on the head side at least. Sort of random, but I just kind of noticed that, and it's kind of neat, actually. Oh well. But, yeah, gold was not enough for Jack's greed. He ended up having to steal the giant's, like, hen, as well as basically stealing their harp. Which, when you think about it, that's really Jack is not a hero here. If anything, he is a terrible man, and these giants are not really the villains, at more than they are merely victims of Jack's avarice, as well as stupidity. Although we can't really blame the giants as being completely innocent, as they were still foolish enough to be tricked by Jack after everything. And also, these eggs kind of... Well, did I mention if you fall at this point, it's considered an actual death instead of, well, not. Tragic, isn't it? Oh well. But that's neither here nor there. We gotta keep moving because we have to prove how much of an utter bastard Jack actually is when it comes to thinking hospitality. The only way he can, by robbing them blind. Oh, Jack, aren't you just a good Samaritan? I'm sure you'll definitely get like the reward for most helpful person. And not, he won't. Just going to upset the locals. Mostly because the locals kind of deserved it. Also, he likes running away from objects that try to kill you. If you said I do, well, you're just a good person. Because the rats are going to try to do everything in their power to kill you. Why? As to why they do it, I don't know. They just kind of do. I've not been one to question the logic of vermin, other than they just do. So yeah, the more we get closer here, the more we deal with rats, and the awkward just kind of gets in general. So just move over here. But yes, now that we're no longer on the roof, we can go back in and start dealing with the giants.
Rumpenstump!
Alright. Also, something's making sounds like a balloon. I'm not entirely sure how to feel towards that. It's all kinds of weird, to be fair. That sounds me converting the stuffed animal when it makes... Okay then! Right, so we need to go up there, but of course, if I want to get all of the things converted in this world, I need to kind of work down here first.
Butt kicking good.
Because it's kind of what I need to do. I want to get anything really, truly accomplished here. Also, again, it's kind of one of those things of the giants are immune to being basically converted into their true colors. I think they don't even do that until like the very end of the scene. There's something like their dark counterparts. It's kind of one of those instances, and it works, I guess, but it's still just one of those things of wouldn't have been kind of cool to kind of see it happen earlier, I suppose. So more narrow platforming, because I haven't suffered enough from that, haven't I? No, I haven't. Right. But even so, in the end, Jack steals everything. The giants, in all of their infinite wisdom, take this pretty well from some random invader kind of stealing everything. And perhaps one of the best ways how. They really don't.
Stop it! The goose isn't enough. Jack goes for the gold. Let's make his life a little more interesting.
And, well, on to the next scene, I suppose. You all know what's about to happen, I think.
Got me a bullet. And you're tired. Big boy, go,
Make it disgusting. Let's Grimm it!
So yeah, now we got to, well, run from the angriest giant known to man while climbing down this slow Beanstalk. And yes, you have to move sort of fast because, well, he will catch up to you and kind of crush you. Kind of like the Breadman segment. Not as fun anymore. Because there's eventually a point where, yeah, because that happens. Getting 100% darkness in this stage is not fun to do. You have to deal with everything under the sun trying to ruin your progress, including the actual natural barrier that is the giant. Yeah. Welcome to life. Ain't it grand? Nope. And now I gotta move this. Although thankfully they do give you a few like speed boosts to do so. They don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, however. It's kind of one of those things of if you wanted to really get other optional areas, they kind of give you that ability to do so, which I kind of would like to do if I'm able to.
Do it now!
Don't think, however. Oh, the giant moved all the way back there. That is by far probably the most handy thing I've seen happen to me so far in this game. How convenient.
Whatever.
Also a lovely power-up that came at the most convenient of times with a secret, no doubt. It's like gift wrapped heaven for me. It's so kind. Even if in the grand scheme of things that amounted to absolutely nothing. But, oh well, who am I to complain? There's still a very angry giant coming after me in the end.
Surprisingly aerodynamic for a golden goose. Oh. Make it putrid.
Now, even more so in our attempt to run away from the giants, we have to control the goose itself. And I would be lying if I said this goose did not control well. It is the most lumbering thing I've ever met in the history of things that move. Like, it's like you're trying to handle it's like handling a pig. A pig that is not the most helpful of pigs. Now imagine it's covered in oil and you're trying to wrestle this pig almost.
Make it
It isn't pretty, really. Also, I was moved lower than I was before, and I don't really remember how. But even so, Now, you're handling this grease pig, and now you're like in a field full of grease, while you're pretty much just like being lobotomized by like a half an inch rusty spoon. Does that sound terrible? Yes. But it's probably the most accurate of how this thing feels. I don't really like handling this thing. I am not a huge fan of handling this thing.
Smell our tail feathers, you great bellowing oaf!
I will say now, I'm honestly surprised I have a gold medal from this. But with that said, on to our final scene in Jack's act of murder.
Whoa, someone has a little weed problem. Let's do some gardening.
At last, Jack's returned home.
Let's finish this thing off proper. Make it putrid. It's Grimm time.
Well, so things have changed a lot since we were up in the sky following Jack. Remember when I said that, like, aggressive things like this don't really like staying in one place? Well, yeah. The farm kinda is sort of no more as we speak, and it's sort of now been consumed by this Beanstalk. If you can call it that, really. But yeah. In terms of our tale, Jack is about to perform murder for a giant because he wants to save his worthless hide, so he gets an axe, or demands an axe from his mother. One of the two. Because you don't believe that well, actually, I believe the latter more than the former. You really think someone like Jack is going to have the smarts to get the axe himself? No, he's going to demand it from his mother because, really, even when his life is on the line, he is not going to care. But c'est la vie, eh? They're all going to get their proper desserts anyway. We'll all see. As this plant is going to consume not only this farm, but probably will end up consuming like the rest of the world, more than likely. But hey, at least the farm is looking healthier than it ever has in its life. It no longer just looks like this wretched like
Let's
hell.
put an end to this thing.
I mean, this used to be like brown and like famine covered, but nowadays it actually it's greener than ever. I mean, granted, probably no one is going to be alive anymore, and probably has all been made like fertilizer for this plant, for this gargantuan thing, but we're happy now. Everything is green. Like, also, I love how the sky itself is like growing the planet like even higher. I do love that little bit of detail. My point's a little bit more concise. Also, the people we've been converting are actually helping out in destroying this tree. Destroying the main root at least. Maybe in their case, it's less to help Jack get rid of the giant more than they are just desperately hoping to get rid of this thing that has destroyed their livelihoods while Jack has been doing God knows what for all they know. Quite a vile end for all of this in the end. I quite like it. I think it's an improvement upon the livelihood of the story. Moral integrity. And it only makes it more tragic that in order for me to finish the rest of this, in the sky. Oh, damn. It's like the game knows exactly what it is making the last push to move me forward. It is forcing me into platforming hell. But even so, we only have at least 2 of them left. I'll get their just desserts from this eldritch plant that has eyes and whatnot. Or I could just fail miserably, as per usual. Can't even get rid of that last dude. Ha! So they're all dealing with this, so let's get this last farmer who's just kind of jerking off in the woods right now. Might as well be. If I weren't bad at this, I could do this easily. Get this guy now. I could have gotten this guy by now. But even so, actually went swifter than I thought.
Make it vile.
Or not, I could still get a chance to finish this off now. Also, these plants are looking more aggravated than ever. Perhaps they are feeling, well, threatened in a way that their core is being attacked, rightfully so. But with this, But this has been American Mcgee's Grimm. This has been Jack and the Beanstalk, and well, with this, I leave you all in the hands of Grimm.
Jack barely escaped death and a steady job, and more's the pity. But it wasn't all golden eggs and happy days, was it? No, no. Call it karmic debt. Who walks through the befouled pastures of robbery and homicide without getting a load of psychic manure on his shoes? It all had to be paid for, and it was.
Jack, you useless lout! Go sell the cow, let me starve!
Do I have to do everything? I was just about to take a nap. Only his mother, a monument of self-control, could resist assaulting him with a sharp implement as she placed their future in his idle hands.
Where you going with that flea-bitten, flat-outed bag of bones, boy?
I'm going to sell her at the market.
She'll never make it half that far. Give me one gold piece and I'll take her off your hands.
I have no money.
You drive a very hard bargain, my son. What's that? I'll give you these coloured beans. They'll bring you lasting good fortune.
Really? Excellent. The profit from Milky White wouldn't last a month. The stranger knew his man, dim as a deep cave. Had they been of similar size, Jack would not have escaped the encounter with his trousers. I've made a good deal, I think.
Anything less, Jack, and we must throw ourselves down the well! You first!
I got these magic beans.
Oh, Jack, what have you done? How could you be such a dolt? Such an idiot? Our cow gone for a bunch of coloured beans? You stupid, fine. We got nothing to eat but lard and chicken droppings.
Jack goes to bed, his supper laying heavier on him than his bruises. While he sleeps, the beans become a hideous beanstalk. To those without wit or expectations, anything out of the ordinary is remarkable. Huge beanstalk must be other words for good fortune. We are saved. A monstrous bean will be born. We can eat for a year. Ah, the true Jack has neither the imagination nor the inclination to explore the beanstalk. But his mother, recoiling from the prospect of dependency on a mutant bean helps him exert the effort. God, climbing's like work. I'm hungry. There must be food round here that needs people to eat it.
Aren't you a plump, comely, and well-formed creature?
No, Mum. My name is Jack.
Come inside, boy. I don't think you've the wit to survive on your own.
If you say so, I'm perishing from hunger. Jack's stomach is a strong persuader and always trumps his brain. When he wants to fill his face, no risks deter him. It's a miracle he survived childhood. Fortune, however, is fickle. The lady likes him as a child likes a cream puff. Oh, give me another piece of pie. I'm so hungry I could eat an ox. And tell whoever's making that noise to hush. I'll want a nap soon.
Your manners compare unfavorably to a pig. But it won't taste any the worse for it. Perhaps I should serve you to blunderbore as an appetizer. No, I'll say you for myself.
Fee-fi-fo-fum! I smell the blood of a human! Be he live or be he dead, I'll grind his bones and pop his head!
Wrong again, blunderbore. That's the third time this week. Leave now and you'll be meat for his hounds.
Her motives are clear to us, but not to a dunderhead like Jack. He acts as he always does, without a thought for anyone but himself or for anything but the main chance.
You miserable, puny rogue! You stole my husband's gold, and I took a fearsome beating!
Wasn't me, missus. My brother, perhaps, a very naughty boy. Might have come in for a bite to eat.
Do you take me for an idiot, boy? Blunderbore's at table now and will be grateful to eat you for dessert. You're done for.
Might I have a last request, Mum? A cool drink of water?
I suppose it won't hurt for you to be a bit juicy.
Bring more beer, woman!
Be right there, dear! For once, Jack gets high marks for initiative. Fear of death will focus even the dullest minds.
About time, too.
Now Jack's survival is assured for so little justice in the world, having dispatched one of his adversaries and incapacitated the other. Fool that he is, his advantage was temporary.
I am what nature made me, but you born a man or a cockroach! 1,000 curses on your kith and kin! May your generation be the last to pollute the earth!
I curse you too, you big, mean, ugly, bad giant! If Jack had ever heard the old saw about sticks and stones, he may have missed the point. Mother, quick! Bring me an axe!
I can't walk, Jack.
Perhaps Jack grasps the saying that it's better to be lucky than good or competent, but probably not. And his luck, such as it is, did not last. He never married. He had to care for his mother, who was an invalid, having been struck by a carelessly thrown bag of gold. Jack suffered from a chronic chicken flu, and the golden harp sang nothing but funeral dirges. Yes, he escaped poverty and starvation, but at what cost? And why was it necessary? Ah, there's the rub. May all our stories end so well. Until next time.